What's going on, everybody? It's Blake Bowman here with Gorilla Zen Fitness, and today I want to talk about joint mobilizations, specifically why strengthening and activation techniques should always follow them. Before I dig deeper into this, let's classify range of motion into two different types. One is going to be passive range of motion, and the other is going to be functional or active range of motion. Passive range of motion just means that the joint is capable of getting into said range of motion passively, usually by some sort of outside force acting on it, like gravity, inertia, or a person like a personal trainer pushing you into that range of motion. It's important to note that with passive range of motion, you're not able to actually use that range of motion with your neuromuscular system. You can't use your muscles to kind of pull you into that range of motion. Now, functional range of motion or active range of motion is the exact opposite. With this type of range of motion, you are able to activate your neuromuscular system, and your muscles can pull you into that range and function in that range as well. So I'm going to use myself as an example here to help make these two different types of range of motion a little bit more clear. But last year I rolled my ankle really bad, and I tore some ligaments in my ankle. And since then I hadn't really actually been doing very much for my ankle, to my own detriment. And recently I had my ankles assessed by a physical therapist and found that my dorsiflexion, my ability to pull my toes up by my shin bone on the ankle that I rolled, was severely limited. Okay, so I had a restriction there. Basically, the joint became all tacked down and glued together with scar tissue. So it was very immobile. So having realized this, I instantly started doing joint mobilizations for my ankle. Okay, I was stretching the joint capsule out. A lot of really cool, joint mobilizations. I'll probably make more videos on that in the future. However, with all of these mobilizations, all that I did was I cleared up the mechanical obstruction that was restricting my movement. Therefore, after doing the mobilizations, I was able to physically grab my toes with my hand and pull my foot up higher. So after having simply done the joint mobilizations for my ankle, I had that passive range of motion restored. I can pull my toes up using my hands higher than I could before, okay? But I could not use my muscles to do that. And the reason why I couldn't is because my neuromuscular system became adapted to working within this shortened range of motion, okay? And the minute I was able to give it a little bit more range of motion, it had completely forgotten how to use that. And that's the whole point of today's video, okay? You have to use that range of motion immediately after you've given it to yourself. So, while I was working with this physical therapist, after we would mobilize my ankle, we would immediately follow it with resisted dorsiflexion. Okay, I would tie a band around my toe and pull up further and further as high as I could in that new range of motion. Okay, so like I said, the whole point of this video is just to know the importance of strengthening and activating the muscles in that new range of motion, okay? You don't want passive range of motion, okay? It doesn't really do much for you. In fact, that can actually predispose you to hurting yourself. If your hamstrings have a shit ton of passive range of motion, and you go out into a functional situation, you're playing football or some sort of sport, and God forbid your leg gets put into a position where it's utilizing that passive range of motion, but your neuromuscular system doesn't know how to fire and activate there, that's how you hurt yourself. That's how hamstrings tear, and that's how other injuries happen. This is kind of why I don't like static stretching, for the same reason. You're not getting any activation. You're creating more range of motion, more length, but you're not training your nervous system and your muscular system to use that range of motion, okay? That's exactly why I like that neuromuscular stretch, also known as the contract and relax stretch. With that type of stretching, you're contracting and squeezing, activating the neuromuscular system during the stretch. That way, all of the systems, the most important, locomotive systems, your neuromuscular system, learns how to activate in that range of motion. So, hope this video helped you out. If it did and you liked it and you're not yet subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that right over here. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and check out my Facebook page as well as my Instagram. I've been a little bit more active there. I'll include links to both of those things in the description down below. Other than that, give the video a like, and I'll see you next time.